For a lot of guys, especially early on in the dating world, there is a very simple, almost unquestioned rule. If you want to keep your partner happy, you say yes, you give them what they want. This pressure usually stems from a scarcity mentality. When you don't feel like you have a lot of options, every request feels like a high-stakes negotiation. You start to believe that denying a request, even a small one, is going to crack the foundational trust of the entire relationship. And that fear meets a very intense psychological force known as consumptive love. A partner in the throes of new romance often wants everything. They want all of your time, all of your attention, and if they could physically crawl inside your head to know every thought you have, they would. It is incredibly flattering. Handing over all that time and attention feels like the ultimate act of devotion. But treating your relationship like an all-you-can-eat buffet is actually a psychological trap. Let's trace out exactly what happens when someone decides to go all in. A guy gets a girlfriend, and slowly he stops hanging out with his friends. He skips his Sunday morning pickup games. He shelves his personal projects. Every free hour is redirected to satisfying his partner's desire to be together. But instead of locking down the relationship, his partner's attraction starts to drop, and eventually she leaves him. This animated chart illustrates exactly what went wrong. As the relationship expands, it literally swallows up the discrete nodes representing his friends, his hobbies, and his personal goals. The individual identity is completely erased. So we have a problem. Why did giving a partner exactly what she asked for become the very reason the relationship fell apart? To understand the collapse, you have to look at the behavioral economics of wanting versus giving. It costs the wanter absolutely nothing to ask for things, but giving? That requires real, finite resources. When you sacrifice your lifestyle to constantly feed those requests, you are dismantling the exact traits that made you attractive in the first place. You are trading away your ambition, your independence, and your mystery. In this resource allocation diagram, a central column holds finite units of time and energy. With endless demands, these units rapidly drain into an external void. As personal reserves empty, the tracking line for attraction mirrors the loss of identity. It plummets to zero. If your current lifestyle was interesting enough to attract a partner in the beginning, dismantling it is the worst move you can make. To keep attraction high, you have to remain the independent person they actually fell in love with. There is also a deeper psychological layer to this. People are complicated, and we frequently demand things that, on a subconscious level, we do not actually want to receive. It functions like a subconscious stress test. It's like a wave of dark fluid crashing against a stone wall. We naturally push against boundaries to see if the structure holds up. A man who yields to every push communicates that he has no solid center. This creates a sense of instability for his partner. If he cannot withstand the mild pressure of her own disappointment, she cannot trust him to withstand a legitimate threat from the outside world. Saying no to consumptive love sends a very clear signal. It communicates that you have boundaries, that you are centered in your own goals, and that you can tolerate the temporary distress of someone else being disappointed. By proving you have the spine to turn down an unreasonable request, you actually create an environment where your partner can relax. They feel psychologically safe because they know someone strong is steering the ship. So, practically speaking, you need to introduce this necessary disappointment early in a new relationship. When you tell a friend you can't make it to a baseball game, they usually just say, "No problem, maybe next time." That's a normal, healthy reaction to rejection. But an immature partner might throw a tantrum, keep score, or suddenly withdraw affection. If someone is going to punish you for having boundaries, you want to find that out in the first 5 weeks. You do not want to discover it after 5 years, when you've already conformed your entire reality to their expectations. Testing these boundaries early reveals the terms of the relationship while the stakes are still manageable. It saves you from years of slow-motion identity loss. Consider the way rejection heightens desire in almost every other context. Think about a time a partner ended things. It rarely makes you lose interest. In fact, it almost always makes you want to pursue them more and try harder. This line graph shows the exact relationship economics happening behind the scenes. We're tracking 2 metrics. When a person limits their availability, shown by this downward line, they're introducing scarcity. And as that availability drops, there is a corresponding steep spike in their perceived value. Disappointment operates exactly like a spice in cooking. If you dump the whole shaker into the pot, the meal is inedible. But a relationship without any friction, without any boundaries, is just bland. Holding a firm boundary preserves the independent identity required to keep the relationship healthy. It provides the necessary friction to keep attraction alive over the long term.